The doctor who saw Erin Patterson and placed that phone call to 000 out of pure concern and suspicion has spoken out, and he did not hold back. Let's talk about it and watch it in today's video.
Hey, 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 welcome to the Sofa Squad, sipping from the cup at hey.
Now hold on everybody, let's do a quick sofa sidebar now. Keep in mind, ain't no cop, ain't no doctor, ain't no lawyer, ain't no therapist, ain't none of that fancy credentialed stuff, okay? Only credentials we got up in here is my sass, and this sofa. Now keep in mind also, I'm just giving my opinions on very public information, so do your own research, come to your own opinions, and drop them off in the comment section. And while you're down there, if you do like what you see here at the Sofa Squad, drop a little like, drop a little comment, drop a little share. It helps the channel out immensely. Now let's get edition. Hello Sofa Squad and welcome back to the sofa. There's a sofa down here, but there's a Paul up here. Hello everybody, my name is Paul if you're new to the channel, and if you're not new to the channel, my name is still Paul. Okay, so we are continuing on with our Erin Patterson mushroom murder massacre coverage, if you will, and just kind of going over evidence and things like that that have been coming out and whatnot. So today I wanted to visit the doctor who saw her, who called 000, who was like, this isn't right. He's spoken out to a couple of places, and what we're gonna do is watch his interviews and just stop along the way and talk about it as we go. So let's go ahead and just dive on in.
Doctor, an extraordinary call there. You can hear from the tone in your voice, even at this early stage, that you knew something wasn't right. What did you think about Erin Patterson at that very moment?
I thought she was guilty.
Bam! I mean, there you go, right? Now this is what I'm talking about. He doesn't hold back, and literally, so hearing his testimony, I was like, there's no way if I was in the jury and heard this in combination with everything that I would have been like, oh, there was a chance that she didn't do this on purpose, right? I mean, he was very credible. Let's keep going.
And I thought that her behaviour when I saw her in 8 o'clock in the morning when she first presented was very strange, and when I asked her directly, eye to eye, where did you get the mushrooms? And she said, Woolworths, instead of, I picked them, I foraged them, I've been doing that for years. Once she said Woolworths, I knew what she had done.
Okay, let's pause there. Y'all, 100%, right? Hearing him say that the second that she said, oh, I got it at Woolworths, he's like, guilty, done, this is not right, this is not normal, something is going on with this, oh my gosh, what is going on? And like I've said before in the coverage that we've done, I feel like if she had sat here and said, you know, I foraged, I did this was a mistake, she might have gotten a manslaughter charge, right? Now I don't know what kind of weight that carries over there, whatever. But again, this had so much context then to like the 911 phone call that we've gone over and whatnot, of they weren't concerned about her health, they were concerned they were letting a murderess on the streets.
Didn't bother asking her any more questions, and I went back to looking after the patients, Ian and Heather Wilkinson, that still required to be transported to Dandenong Hospital and ongoing treatment.
Now this part gives me goosebumps because it's such admiration for him, saying the second that she said, I got it from here, it was immediately done. Do not, something is off. This is probably the perpetrator. I don't have time to deal with her. I'm trying to save the people's lives that she's trying to take, right? But for his instincts to be that dialed in, immediately my hat's off to the man.
Well, that's exactly right. At that case, you had 2 patients in your care who were extremely sick from her lunch. You knew that there were kids at home who were said to have eaten it. How concerned was she, but also how concerned were you about the kids and potentially Erin's health?
So Amelia, at that stage, 8 o'clock or 8:05 a.m., I was not aware of the children. I became aware of the children as part of my preparation for the 000 call.
Okay, so this is the other part where he becomes aware of the kids on his own terms, right? Or like, you know, prepping, whatever. So he's sitting here, already has bad vibes, and it's like, wait a minute, there's kids? Again, we already saw how Erin acted, if you haven't watched or whatever. You know, when they're calling her saying, we need to get the kids out of school, we need to do this, we need to do that, she's like, no, I don't want to bother them, no, whatever. Now, it is of my opinion, this is just sofa speculation, that had she gotten away with this, down the road, I very much fear for what the kids, or maybe even at that point, young adults, whatever, what could have potentially happened to them, because I do think that this is her modus operandi, if you will, for getting rid of people.
So then, Chris, what did you think about her reaction and how she presented to you at the time when you take into account your conversations with her?
So the first time she presented at 8 o'clock, the interaction was quite brief. When she represented almost 2 hours later, the interaction was far more significant because it also involved getting permission for the police to break into her house to obtain the leftovers from the meal. And it was that point that the conversation about the children took place, because in preparation for the 000 call, I read her entire medical file, and that's where I came to know of the children. And look, the one time that my mum cooked beef Wellington for a dinner party when I was a kid, I ate some of the leftovers. So I figured, why wouldn't her kids eat some of the leftovers? And that's why she didn't volunteer the information. I asked her, has the children eaten the meal? And that's when she said yes.
She didn't volunteer the information, right? So if you're on the jury member, or just us watching at home, but I view these as if, I'm on the jury or whatever. If you're on the jury and you hear, and we've talked about this too, if there is any chance that you think your children, or anyone for that matter, right? But in this situation, at minimum, it's like, oh my God, my kids had these leftovers too. There's people dying in the hospital. It's not even a question if you go get them out of school. Like the second that all clicks into place, there's no time to call 911. You're already on this way to school yourself. Ain't no time to start the car. You're running down the damn road, okay? Calling 911, calling Simon, calling everybody. There's just no. That alone gives me goosebumps. Swing the gap. Where's the damn gavel? We're getting the props out that we need for this. Damn it, guilty. Swing that gavel. Save the taxpayers some money and time. Right? Just that alone, okay? But then, so let's dial it back in. Let's be serious, right? We're in court. We're going to hear all the evidence. She doesn't even volunteer the information. He has to ask. Okay, so again, pretend this really happened or whatever. If this would be me, I'd be like, oh my God, like knowing that death caps were in the household, first of all, burn the house down. Right? Burn the house down. Collect the insurance, but we can't go back in there. Okay? No, thank you. But secondly, immediately rush everybody and the dog too. Bring the dog on over, not to the vet, to the rescue 911 place too, the rescue 000 place, the hospital. We need serious stuff and backup.
And that's when I was okay. This is beyond crazy now. My responsibility to the children at that point meant that I had to ensure that they received medical treatment to be assessed whether they had been exposed to Amanita phalloides toxins. So it was a distressing answer, and also, like, why are you saying it like it's a mosquito you've just slapped on your forearm? You're talking about your children eating a potentially fatal meal.
Again. Thank you, okay? Like, this is what I'm talking about, common sense. So it's so refreshing to hear somebody, now especially like this, he's been a doctor. Now, I believe that he is in potential hot water for doing these interviews and speaking out. I'm not 100% sure at this point in the time, and it could change by the time you see this video, because it'll probably be several days before this comes out over here on this main channel right here. But this is the kind of stuff that you're looking for, right? There's usually like, everybody's very civilized and whatnot, and we need that, right? We don't need to be emotionally driven in court. You need the facts out. You need everything out there to make sure the I's are dotted, T's are crossed. I get that, okay? Obviously, we're a little bit, dramatic here for this. I mean, come on now, right? But in all seriousness, you need that. So it's refreshing when you hear someone, especially a medical professional like him, being like, nope, absolutely not. And also in this day and age where it feels like everything moves so fast, everything is so desensitized, everything is so impersonal, to hear someone see something, say something, raise red flags, be concerned about fellow humans is so refreshing to me.
Show something, but she's very impassive.
Well, one of the things that's often overlooked when we talk about this case is the terrible suffering of the victims. You treated Heather Wilkinson, who eventually died from the poisoning. What was that like? What were your interactions with her?
So, look, obviously I'm aware of the reporting because it's a case that I'm just as fascinated in as other people. In the time that Ian and Heather were in the care of Leongatha Hospital, it was the relatively early stages of Amanita phalloides toxin poisoning. And when you rehydrate patients at that stage, they pick up and they feel better. They don't feel 100%. Ian and Heather were clearly still unwell, but they were able to have long conversations with me about the luncheon and questions about where the meat was obtained. I personally witnessed them leave the plaster room several times to go off to the toilet, presumably to have diarrhea, but they didn't go in a wheelchair. They weren't accompanied by a nurse. They went under their own power and came back under their own power. Heather vomited during the consultation at one point, and I inspected the vomit.
So listen to the behaviors that he's talking about. And again, as a jury member or a pretend jury member, whatever you want to call it, if I'm hearing this and then I'm seeing the video of Erin waddling on into that gas station, sniffing through all those sandwiches, spending 5 seconds in the bathroom talking about I gotta throw someone away, voluntarily coming and going from the hospital like it's recreation, then you hear the reality of it. She's throwing up in the interview. She's going to have diarrhea numerous times. Not Erin, but Gail and the other victims and whatnot. So it's like, as a bystander, you're going to see that and you're going to be like, this is not right. And then again, so many things, but you bring in the passiveness. And that was like the word, there's such a great word that he used, the passiveness. And so many of us have acknowledged this dynamic too, where it's like the passiveness, her answers, her lack of concern over the fact that your kids might have just eaten a poisonous meal. It's like that laziness, because she knows they didn't. That's the difference, right? She knows they didn't have the poison, so she doesn't want to be bothered. She's like, here we go, we have to deal with this, right? I mean, that's where people get lazy in these situations like this, these murder cases where the perpetrator knows what happened, so they don't want to be out there looking for the person. They killed him for a reason, right? They don't want to waste their time looking for him, and they know y'all ain't gonna find them.
She had saline running intravenously, so what she lost was being replaced. And at that early stage, they were exhausted because they had been up most of the night with vomiting and diarrhea, but they weren't in a level of distress that I have read about what it's like to have multi-organ failure as a result of the effect of this toxin. So I can't comment on that aspect of their final hours and days. I didn't witness that.
Interesting that he mentions this where he's like, it's almost to me, and correct me if I'm wrong in there in the comment section, he didn't perceive them suffering as much as like the reporting claims that they did for multi-organ failure and that type of thing. It almost sounds like it wasn't as bad, which if it's not, then great, right? Because I envision this like level of absolute just like so sick. And now let me say this, even if I'm just sick, like that level of like stomach flu sickness, that is like hardcore to me. So for him describing this, I'm just like, oh my gosh. But yeah, I'm interpreting what he's saying as like, from what I've read and whatnot, it just wasn't as severe of a suffering moment as we thought. I don't know. I mean, I would hope not, right? If it's one of those things where by the time they got to that, they put them under, and induced income or whatever, then I mean, great. Because that was my fear with this is you see their age, we've somewhat come to know them, they're very, caring, concerned, forgiving people, and to think that their last moments were spent like this, right, is just horrifying. Now what we're going to do is we're going to visit another interview, this is by 9 News, with the same doctor, just to hear a little bit deeper perspective on things.
I think that she's probably already climbed the hierarchy of the social structure of prison. Anybody who messes with her is going to regret it.
Dr. Chris Webster was the first medical professional to speak to Erin Patterson. He called police when she was reluctant to get treatment and discharged herself against medical advice.
I have a concern regarding a patient that presented here earlier but has left the building and is potentially exposed to a fatal toxin.
Now, let me tell you what, for him to say that, like she's climbed the hierarchy, you know who she reminds me of? And help me out here. But number one, Marge from Pee-wee's Big Adventure, and then the Goonies mom, right? Like I can imagine the Goonies mom running prison. Okay, that's the energy I'm getting. To me, he seems like like somebody who also became obsessed with the case. I'm not saying that in a negative way because hello, look at me, right? Sitting here talking to a camera and holding this. Like he's been doing a lot of research into it and like just following it along and blah, 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 blah. I mean, obviously he's like a star witness, okay? So he was kind of thrust into this, like not by, he wasn't asking to be, okay? But it's almost like he got a look into evil's eyes and that fascinated him. It would me, okay? Like if it haphazardly walked into this situation, I would be very intrigued by the entire thing. I can imagine how Erin glared him down in the courtroom.
That 000 call alerting police, the first domino to fall in a chain reaction that ultimately exposed a killer.
The fact that she is capable of doing such a heinous act speaks volumes.
When the mushroom cook presented to hospital after the beef Wellington lunch, the doctor asked why she was there.
The response from Erin, I think I've got gastro. And I thought, what's your name? And she said, Erin Patterson. And I was like, oh.
Ian and Heather Wilkinson were also at the hospital, desperately sick, but the doctor says something felt very sinister.
Erin sat in a chair and I don't even remember her looking in the direction of Ian and Heather Wilkinson.
I mean, to that part right there, these are the little nuances. I don't even remember her looking in the direction, clearly not asking, right? I mean, I think she probably was getting pleasure out of it. Like maybe she showed up, like sitting that close to knowing what's happening, almost like she was enjoying that. Watching her work, right? Like that kind of a thing.
When she didn't respond in a way that instantly would have explained it as a tragic accident, yeah, that's it. From that moment in my mind, she was guilty. She was evil.
I mean, that's the whole crux of this and it baffles me, but again, she's messy and I'm glad she is, obviously, because justice was served. But him saying that, her response, I got him at Woolworths, like this is just not going to happen, right? Again, it's almost that whole thing of trying to say like, I was poisoned by filling the big corporation or whatever. Not that that can't happen, we've just covered the Tylenol murders and whatnot. But the way she was trying to sell the story was just so unlikely. And so for him, just hearing him talk about it just sends chills down my spine. And he just quickly surmised, yeah, and then on top of that, all the other things. She's not concerned about the kids. She's not even asking about these victims who are like literally just dying in the hospital. What's going on here?
The next time Dr. Webster came face to face with Patterson was in the courtroom when he was called as a witness.
I felt the intensity of the hostility and the negativity towards me.
His testimony would ultimately help the Crown bring down a killer.
She's evil. And she had a problem. She had a dilemma. And the solution that she chose is sociopathic.
It's literally like one of us got up there and was like, the interviewer was like, what do you think about the situation? Right? He's just hitting all the key words. And one of the videos I did, we were talking about watching a news clip where the reporter was talking about Erin staring at the jury during like the verdict reading and whatnot. And she just kind of stared them down and you heard him saying this. It's like that evil, flat affect, kind of that she seems to present in these situations does not being any different. I mean, it just really sounds like he looked into evil's eyes, almost like the Michael Myers things. I've seen things in those dark, evil eyes. That kind of a thing where he saw this and it's intriguing. He does seem intrigued by it. And I'm not saying that's in a good or bad way, but there's just something there. And again, I think I would be too if I had known that I run into this, and especially you're the star witness. I mean, come on, right?
I got a call from Cindy Munro and Kylie Ashton. They were celebratory.
Patterson's teary denials at her house after that lunch.
I'm devastated. I love them.
Now, a lot more chilling.
I think she was a locomotive on a couple of steel tracks that there was no way she was deviating.
I mean, there you go. And again, watching the interviews that she did in the very beginning now, they are more chilling. They are more frightening, because you're seeing someone at work, someone trying to cover up, someone trying to pretend, and that mask, I think, very quickly fell off. I mean, I guess she did this not thinking she was going to get caught or she could talk her way out of it. I don't know. But once that started to hit in, she was almost like annoyed, right? Like I have to, panicking and annoyed and trying to cover up. And clearly it it didn't work.
Innocent, many of those in her close vicinity, including her neighbours, knew something wasn't right.
Sometimes she'd just come out and lie on the ground and stare at the sky, and, people would say, "Are you okay?" And she'd be, sort of a bit short with them.
Now, here's the thing, too. So you see these behaviors, you hear them from the neighbor and whatnot. She was short with them. She came out and do kind of odd stuff. Hey, are you okay? Erin's answer being one of evil and a pattern of that, there was definitely emotional stuff going on there. Now, I'm not trying to give her a free pass or say it's whatever, right? It doesn't change anything. But I think clearly there's something, and I don't know if broken is the right word, but off for sure, was taking place with her. Okay, now remember how earlier I said, the doctors come under fire, whatever. Okay, well, I got the intel. Okay, we're gonna watch another clip on that to see. Wait till you hear what people are saying and what he said. So let's just get into it.
A Leongatha doctor who blew the whistle on Erin Patterson's murderous mushroom plot is in danger of losing his medical licence after speaking out about the convicted killer. Dr. Chris Webster says he's being investigated by the medical board after voicing his disgust about the infamous beef Wellington cook.
Okay, so you've heard the interviews, you've heard that. Now there's some other stuff that he apparently said and did that's not in here, or I'm sorry, that wasn't in the covers that I covered. So just brace yourselves.
He was a key medical witness whose testimony contributed to Erin Patterson's conviction.
She's evil. She had a problem. She had a dilemma, and the solution that she chose is sociopathic.
Patterson was Dr. Webster's patient for the 5 minutes she spent in Leongatha Hospital on the morning after the lethal lunch. He then saw her on TV.
I just can't fathom what has happened.
I was laughing at the absurdity of how fake her emotion appeared.
I mean, this man does not hold back. This man does not hold back. Now, I don't know what the laws would be different, like there versus here, if a doctor came out after the fact and spoke this way. But obviously it's, publicly has not gone over well, which is fascinating to me just because of the circumstances and the conviction and all that, we're worried about what he has said.
Just days before her interview, Patterson was caught on CCTV disposing of the food dehydrator she used to prepare the meal. But Dr. Chris Webster is now paying the price for his frank assessment of the triple murderer. His candid post-trial commentary sparked a series of complaints, which have left him fighting to keep his medical licence, and following legal advice, he's been gagged from speaking publicly again. 10 News has obtained emails taking issue at his descriptions of Patterson as a crazy bitch and disturbed nutbag.
I cannot.
It undermines the dignity of Ms. Patterson, they said. It was unprofessional, unhinged and misogynistic. One email demands a thorough investigation. Another says he should be on trial for breach of trust. The backlash spilled over onto social media, where Dr. Webster hit back. Your concern for the privacy of a convicted mass murderer is matched by my concern for the society in which I live, he replied.
I mean, get this dude, honey, he's going to tell you like it is. Okay, if you want to know the truth, you want to know how that new haircut looks, you want to know how that new outfit looks on you, you ask this doctor. He ain't going to pretty it up.
My actions helped put a triple murderer behind bars, and you want to go after my professional standards? I wish you luck. The medical board is remaining tight-lipped about any potential investigation into Dr. Webster's comments, stating only it's aware of his media interviews and reports that complaints were made.
I mean, personally, I would hope he doesn't get in trouble, because I think that he's speaking, not for everyone. Obviously, some people are offended at seeing it and whatnot, but I think that he's just to me, he comes off as very passionate. Now, I don't know the man personally, so maybe some other stuff comes out about him that's like, whatever, not so good or something. But just my initial reaction is I'm like, this is just a very caring man. He saw this. He saw Erin. He clocked her right away. He knew what was going on. He saw her on the TV. You heard him say she seemed so fake. She didn't even talk about the kids, this, that, the other. He knew evil when he saw it, and he called it out, and he's very passionate about it. So, we'll see. So anyways, that is, the doctor has spoken. Bam, done. End of story. Guilty. guilty as charged. Okay, here's your RX for next session. So yeah, I think it's pretty interesting to hear this perspective from him. I'm very, very impressed by it. And so that's it. So we are going to go ahead and wrap it up there. So let me know what you think down in the comment section below. What do you think of his comments? Do you think he went too far? I want to know. And while you're down there, hold on, my little prop fail. Hold on. Okay. If you could drop some sofas off or some little weird pillows. It was all the way on the other side of the room. It's got a pepperoni stain on it now too. I don't know what happened with that, but do that for little Roscoe, for Bo and Luke, and for you, the Sofa Squad. So we'll have a place to talk and hang out about Erin, the doctor, Casey Anthony, who apparently has a new boyfriend again, all that crazy stuff we talk about here at the Sofa Squad. And until we meander our way down there to do that, I'll see y'all soon.
I just wanted to say thank you again for watching the whole video, and also thank you for being part of the Sofa Squad. Special thanks to all the Patreon members, channel members from both of my channels, everybody who likes, shares, subscribes, comments in the comment sections. It helps the channel out so much. Now don't forget, I do have that other channel, the podcast channel. That's where we go live, we hang out, we talk. We have kind of sort of a schedule, but just be sure and check it out. I'll put it up here on the screen. And then, like I said in the beginning of the video, if you want to follow me and Roscoe on the Instagram, go on, check it out. It's right here on the screen again. But once again, thank you very much. I really appreciate you being part of the Sofa Squad, and I'll see you in the next video.
Hey, welcome to the Sofa Squad. Sipping from the cup that hey, come laugh with the Sofa Squad. Can't roll my damn eyes hard enough.